Welcome back to a quick chat in the Cadillac. My name is SG and I like to explore the simplicity of complexity. So if you don't know, this is my show where I break it down for you both real and quick. Today I got a topic for you that I've been waiting to touch on. It's called responsibility. You feel me? Responsibility and capability. Now, there are many things, countless lists, miles long, of things that you will be responsible for in this lifetime and potentially the next, as well as the list that you had in your previous lifetime. So, you should probably get real comfortable with responsibility if you haven't already. But don't allow that to intimidate you. I'm going to teach you something here that should be very valuable to you, okay? It should be very valuable because it's going to reframe your mind and your perception in order to direct you in the direction of positive use of your responsibility. All right, now you're just saying big words that don't make sense. Okay, so let me break it down real simple. Like I said, I do. Essentially, responsibility is the acknowledgement of whatever you want to say. For me, I say the universe. The universe acknowledging that you are capable of accomplishing certain things. Sometimes we take on a little more than we could chew. We take a bite, and it's a little bit bigger than we could chew. I understand that. I respect it. It happens to the best of us. But the universe is not going to handle you any responsibility that you aren't able or capable of taking care of making sure things get handled with. Now, I don't know the Webster definition of responsibility, but if I had to define it, I'd say it's a set of expectations that you're accountable to meet. Okay, you're accountable to meet these expectations for whatever reason. For instance, if you have children, you have a responsibility to keep them alive, well-fed, and healthy. Because in realistic expectation of your accountability says you should be able to do all those things in one way or another, just based with the resources that you have. Now, that's a very interesting example because it's a whole lot more difficult to actually do so than people will oftentimes give you credit for, but it's still your responsibility. You may have a simple responsibility. I don't know, maybe you do the dishes, or you gotta not throw your Kleenex on the floor or something like that. Whatever the case, it's still your responsibility because you have the capability to accomplish these expectations, to actually do what you need to do to meet the expectation. If the universe is handing you responsibilities that you are incapable of meeting, that would make you an irresponsible person, and it wouldn't be your fault. The universe is never going to do something that makes it your fault. The universal laws, the physics of existence, all that kind of stuff. If you're handed responsibilities, it's because in some form or fashion, you have the capability to actually meet the expectations. I'm cooking, but hold on. This is where people get intimidated because they don't realize that sometimes the capability that you have, the ability that you have to meet these responsibilities and do what you need to do is future oriented, meaning your growth is what gives you that capability. The amount of growth you can experience if you're moving correctly is what gives you that capability. Sometimes what you have immediately at your disposal or immediately available to you is not quite enough to meet those expectations, but you can attain it within a reasonable frame of time if you do actually put in the work to grow. And that's where responsibility becomes a stepping stool instead of a burden. You understand? Now, a lot of times we are tasked with responsibility and it is intimidating at first. A lot of times we're tasked with responsibility and it feels like it's limiting us instead of allowing us to push ourselves and grow further past boundaries that we thought we never would achieve before. So reframing your mind around that is going to be something that contributes to your overall progress and not takes it away. There's so much more that you can accomplish once you've already accomplished so much more. It's because you're proving through these responsibilities, like a rewards-based system, right? If you have the responsibility to beat a video game, do you start at the boss level? No. But you still have that responsibility. You got to start at level 1, complete level 1, complete level 2, complete level 3, blah, 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 all the way to the end, the boss level, where you probably get your ass whooped a couple times, but eventually you'll beat the boss. And that's why high levels of responsibility are placed on highly capable individuals. If you put a whole bunch of responsibility on, your dog that's a, catnip addict and doesn't even know how to get up out of the doggy bed, then obviously the dog's not going to accomplish responsibilities. The only thing you're trying to do is demean that person, demean that individual. But if you put a lot of responsibility on someone or something that is very capable and just hasn't yet met the responsibilities, expectations, or requirements that you said or that the external world has said or blah, 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 there's still a potential that they can and be better off for it. Now, I don't want you to blur the line, okay? Because when I just gave you that example, I said a whole lot of you setting expectations for someone else. Sometimes responsibility is just thrust upon you. Let's say you have a loved one who needs caretaking, and then other loved ones who typically take care of that loved one pass away, and the responsibility is thrust upon you to now take care of that other one. That's not something that they did intentionally or something that you intentionally took on, but it is something that has now been placed upon your plate because the universe is asking you to expand your capability to be a caretaker. So you should not be running around willy-nilly thrusting responsibility upon people just because you can. That's a little bit of an exaggeration and also an abuse of power. But what you should do is expect individuals who are somewhat qualified or have the ability to be qualified at some point in time to meet expectations that would be beneficial to them. I.e., let's say you know a person with anger issues. Eventually, this person starts to make progress. You now can place the responsibility of, hey, I'm going to bring you around a close circle of people who may be positive influences in your life. I expect you to act accordingly and not let your anger get the best of you. That would be a responsibility that you placed on someone else that potentially can benefit them. Who knows? They walk into that room, they walk into that circle of people, and then end up changing their life with some business idea to sell catnip for all different kinds of animals. I don't know why catnip keeps coming up today. Maybe that's important to you. I don't know. But you get my point, right? Responsibility comes in all forms and fashions. It could be financial, physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, whatever the case. However, the only reason you have that responsibility is because you are capable enough in someone or something's eyes to actually accomplish and meet the expectation. So don't take that as intimidation. Take it as encouragement, at least the best you can. We're all human. It's a natural response to be intimidated by, high levels of responsibility. I get that. Trust me. Believe me. I do get that. However, reframe. Teach your mind how to teach the rest of the world who you are. You understand? You got to teach your mind who you are so you can teach the rest of the world who you are through your actions. But it starts here. Every action, from the time you open and close your hand to doing a triple 360 backflip spin, land perfectly, starts in the brain. So you have to teach your brain first, and that's something that you have to do consciously. So just to recap, use your responsibilities as evidence of progress, evidence of potential, and then maximize on it. Use your responsibilities to improve your capability to include more responsibilities. If I said, listen, young blood, I'm going to hand you a $10 billion a year company. If I said that to you and then I just gave it to you without actually seeing if you have the ability to accomplish all the responsibilities of running a $10 billion per year company, what the fuck do you think is going to happen? You're probably going to fall on your face and ruin the company. Or at least it's going to be a tough couple months or years for quite a while until you figure it out. Because you had to start at ground zero with a big ass plate of responsibilities. But if you get handed these responsibilities over time to the point where you get acclimated to each next level of responsibility, by the time you hit the point where you're taking over the $10 billion a year company, it might be pushing $20 billion and you could be taking it to 40. You feel me? That's why you shouldn't run from responsibilities, because it's like the stepping stones. Responsibility is the steps to improvement, the steps to success. So take those responsibilities and fucking run with them. Don't run from them. Way easier said than done, but like the many things on this channel that we discussed that are the same way, it's just the facts of life, man. A lot of shit is easier said than done, so go out there and do it. That way you can talk about it. Alright, very good. Okay, peace. I know I was missing for the past couple days. Don't worry about me. I'm doing what I'm doing. You worry about you. Oh, and focus on using your responsibilities as stepping stones. Peace, part 2.